Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and I seen this article today from Bounding Into Comics, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about the hypocrisy of it. Don't get me wrong, I do like Scarlett Johansson. I feel like she's kind of wish-washy in her stance a lot. She came out a while back saying, you know, when it came to playing like a trans person or anything, she could play anybody she wanted, and then kind of backpedaled on that. So I feel like she does that a lot, and I feel like this might be one of those instances where it's a massive virtue signal, because even before I get into the article, there was a few years ago, and I will cover up the lady bits for the video so I don't get demonetized, but Scarlett Johansson has been fully nude in roles before. Yes, she's talking about the hypersexualization being because of a bunch of dudes. Like, you took the role, right? You agreed to this, correct? Don't blame it on somebody else. Have some personal responsibility. But before I get into this article, don't forget, if you are new to the channel, to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video, as always, hit the like button. If you want to help support the channel, there are links in the description, or you can simply share the video. I appreciate every single one of you guys. So let's actually take a look at this. And this is from Bounding Into Comics, who I check on the daily. I really like them. I think they're a top tier website, especially when we look at some of the others like Polygon or CBR, or for God's sakes, the Mary Sue. They definitely do a better job when it comes to reporting. So it says, Black Widow star Scarlett Johansson expresses regret being hypersexualized, and she blames a bunch of dudes. Now, she was at this, I guess it's an Oscars actress roundtable with a bunch of actresses. I can't even say their name. I mean, I can say Jennifer Lopez, but Renee Zellweger, Lauren Dent, and the other ones, I can't even go there. So she answered some questions from the Hollywood Reporter, and she asked, I'm curious how important you to shift what people expect based on your choices. And she says, it's so different now. The climate is so different now. Yeah, unfortunately, Overton's window has shifted entirely too much. But there are so many wonderful opportunities for women at every age to play different types of people. And she's right. A lot of this article talks about the role she was in when she was 20. So I don't know if she's specifically talking about her as Black Widow. That is what it is hinted at, but you can't really be sure when it comes to this. When she's talking about being cast in her early 20s, she says, I feel when I was working in my early 20s, and even in my late teens and early 20s, I felt that I got typecast. I was very hypersexualized. Now, of course, when it comes to women like this, I think it's pretty, like I said, I think it's pretty hypocritical. But she wasn't forced to take those roles. She chose to. She chose and signed her name on the dotted line to which roles she wants to take. Nobody made her. She accepted the paycheck. All of these things are ridiculous to complain about, in a sense that it was hypersexualized. I'm not saying, how do I say this in the nicest way possible? Black Widow, when it comes to the Avengers, is a little bit fan service. Don't get me wrong, she's an amazing actress and she can kick some butt. But they wouldn't really be lost without her. So having her in those roles, and even when it was in Iron Man and stuff like that, yeah, she was a little bit sexualized, but again, she chose, she received the money. I don't see what the issue here is with, seems like in the past 10 years, a lot of people have kind of left the self-responsibility at the door, and the dudes that she's blaming for this, the hypersexualization of her character, were all her fans, right? So they were people that supported her through the movies, but then she just shits on them. I don't get it at all. Okay, let's actually look into a little bit more. It says the Oscar winner would go on to say that at the time it seemed okay. I mean, it's still okay. I don't get the issue. But it wasn't that she felt it was a narrative created for her by some men. I guess at the time it seemed okay to everyone. It was another time. Even though it was put in part of my own narrative, it was kind of crafted for me by probably a bunch of dudes in the industry. Self-responsibility, honey. Where did that go? And I guess that worked then. It was really difficult for me to try to figure out how to get out of being an ingenuine or other woman because or ingenuine? I have such trouble with that word. I don't know why. Because it was never anything that I had intended. Well, I hate to break it to you, honey, but you are a beautiful young actress. And as much as you don't want to hear it, sex sells. Being beautiful, being sexy, being, having a nice body, all of those things are going to help sell your brand. You created your brand by yourself. Your brand is Scarlett Johansson. So when you're taking on these roles or you're deciding what you want to do next, like the Black Widow movie that comes out next year, you created these things. So you can't blame some dudes. The only word we're missing here is white, because that's usually what they do. You can't blame some dudes for your personal choices. The lack of self-awareness with this one is just ridiculous. And the funny thing is she doesn't, I am not saying she doesn't realize it, but she wasn't the only people sexualized in that movie or made to look well. Like, look at Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth or, any of the Chris's. They all went on there with their shirts off. So, at least you had yours on. Just because you had some black tight leather doesn't make it any different. It's just that victim narrative. She still continues to take this role. It just really seems to me that this is kind of one of those small virtue signals. Poor me. Make sure women, feminist women particularly, see what I'm saying about dudes. And hopefully nobody else does. I don't know. I thought this was kind of shitty of her. Kind of shitting on her fans. Kind of shitting on her industry. The people that made her. The people that enjoy her. I just thought this was all around kind of low class and low brow. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, I want to give a huge shout out to my Subscribe Star and Patreons. You guys literally make this channel possible. Thank you so much. Sanjuro, Way Else One, BG Torrance, Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Grand Smear, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Jeremy Burtz, Mike Buckner, Robert, and Timothy French. You guys are freaking amazing. Thank you so much, and make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.